and more, because you're extremely visible, right? You're just all over the place. You're everywhere. You're looking like, I don't know what the actual numbers are, but you're like half the man you were when we last spoke in June of 2020. You've changed completely. The beard's back, but you're a different man. You look amazing. What's the secret?
I'm starting to. I was really good, and I lost a load of weight, and it's starting to. I think with the stress of work, it's starting to creep back in a little bit. The bad sort of dietary habits are creeping back in again now. So I need to.
What were the good dietary habits?
I still do. I meditate a lot, journal a lot, and that gives you the foundation. I firmly believe that every action that you go through during the day is as simple as a binary choice. It's like yes or no. You're about to stick something in your gob which you know is bad for you. No, don't do it. Process it and go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to reach for something a bit better. So it's as simple as that. Just don't put shit in your gob.
I firmly believe that everything we do during the day is a binary choice, either yes or no. That is quite. There's a book in that, I think.
Probably. It is as simple as that. It's yeah. And every process or everything that you go through during the day, you either accept it and you let it push you over, or you push back and go, no, I'm not gonna concede to that. I'm gonna actually physically be, I'm going to be present in the moment and go, yes, I'm going to make an informed decision now based on I think that's a lot of the time. I think we're hold on a minute, my notifications are going off. Let's just turn those off a second. We're so bombarded with stuff that we don't have time to process things.
Yeah.
And if you just slow down just a tiny bit, and actually take time to process the information that's coming your way,
totally
it works out a bit better.
But, and yeah. you said so meditation's become an important thing for me recently. So
nice, dude.
I get, so here's full disclosure, right? I want to circle back and with your permission at some point talk about that video at some point, but I don't want to get too morose. We'll just skim the surface of it, right? Okay. So my thing is, I used to think I was indestructible, right? I used to think I was like, could take on the world and could go and do that. Because I had a pretty poor upbringing as well. And it toughened me up to the point where I had quite a tough skin. And I'm like, I'm going to go and do that thing and no one's going to tell me no, and I'm going to crack on and do it. I think everyone has a way that the body says, I'm struggling with some stuff just now. And my thing is in the gut. And as I've got older, the more pressure I'm under, the more stress that I'm under, I get it's a horrible stuff. I get IBS, right? IBS, and it flares up to the point where I'm like doubled over. Also, I've had it for about 15 years. I've got rosacea, so I'm always red, right? And across here on my forehead and all that, it flares up, and it flares up with. It's not dietary for me. It flares up with stress. With stress. So I needed a way to try and, not flush that out, because I don't believe you can flush it out, but a way to try and counter that and a way to try and get a handle on that. And meditation for me, wow. I mean, I'm a little league meditator. I use the Calm app and I work with Jeff.
Yeah. I do as well. Yeah.
Are you with Jeff?
Yeah, no. Daniel Stephen, he's the one that helped me lose a fair bit of weight. And obviously I met him on LinkedIn, but he's the one that got me into meditation and journaling as well. So it's a game changer. Just you can physically, I think it's after about they say it's about 30 days, but you can almost kind of feel your brain chemistry change after doing it.
Yes.
For a month, you're just a lot more. Yes. You're just super chilled, like nothing, nothing sort of phases you. And I mean, it's I think people, when they get into that mindset of starting that, going through meditation, I spoke to a guy about it today, and he's like, he's always kind of stressed out and he's always worried about stuff, and he's going to go and see the doctor because he wants to go and see a dietitian and stuff. And I'm like, dude, just try meditating. He's like, I can't do that because it's I can't sit there and I find all my thoughts kind of get invasive and stuff. And it's like, that you're supposed to feel like that. It's
Yes.
normal. You know, it takes decades to get to the state where you can just you're just supposed to sit there with your thoughts and let them kind of.
It takes decades to get to the point where you realize you're 1 foot off the deck sitting cross-legged. Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah, cool. You know what I love? I love when you're meditating and you're like, how did you get in here? What are you doing here? Go away. Move to the side, please.
Yeah. When you're completely in the zone. I mean, I do mine first thing when I wake up, and
So do I.
My timing's a little bit off, and I'll hear the missus come into the room, and she sits down on the other end of the bed. I can just feel the bed move, and that's like a signal for like she's entered the room.
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. So you're looking great. You have what was the driver for losing the weight, and how much did you lose?
I've lost. I think when I started, I was at my heaviest. I was nearly 17. I don't know what this is in kgs, but 17 stone. I managed to get down to 14 and a half.
Crikey!
So, yeah, fairly big shift in weight. I think it was. I think a lot of people have gone through this as well. It was the beginning of lockdown, and sort of going through that process, and that's what sort of led on to that video. But I did a post before that video talking about the same thing about my trauma, because I got to a point. I was like, lockdown started, and I kind of I was finding myself kind of drinking more in the evenings, and sort of just as a kind of coping mechanism, I suppose. And it got to one day where I was just like, I've had enough of this. Like, I'm gonna. That's my daughter. You can see. What are you doing?
Hello.
Okay. She's gonna go and play Roblox. Apparently.
That's cool. Cool.
On the iPad. Limited time though.
Limited time. Good parenting. Good parenting skills there. Awesome.
And yeah, it just got to the point where I just said to myself, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of feeling like this. So I did that post. That was really cathartic. And then that's what sort of set me on the journey of kind of like, I'm gonna try and cope with my stress mechanism, try and shift some weight, and just be more. I think it was a kind of revelatory, and it sounds a bit hippie and new age, but kind of self-love thing. I was like, I've always gone through my life kind of beating myself up about, you know, how good I am, how good my work is, and blah blah blah, and yeah, that was the start of like, I just need to be kind to myself, really.
Quite right, and good for you for doing it. Let's circle back at that in a few minutes. You've said there, beating yourself up about yourself and your work and all of that. For those that don't know you, and I can't imagine that's many people because you're super well known, right? Especially digitally. For those who don't know, give us the elevator speech for what you do, the company, what it is you specialize in, and all of that. As if some people have never met you, but most of the people watching this will know you. But carry on anyway.
Yeah, we build contextual content, video content strategies for brands and businesses at scale. We call it brand world building. But I'm going to use the dreaded pivot word here, but since COVID started and we couldn't get out and film stuff for clients, I've moved into the training space. So I do video coaching as well now, which is a new, like, I would have never have thought, you know, I would never have thought, one, that I enjoy coaching people so much. And there's an old, I don't know if it was, I always misquote it. I don't know if it's Picasso, but he said, the goal of life is to learn or specialize in, you know, become the best you can be at what you are, and then give it away, basically. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm doing by teaching people. So I'm passing on my wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, I know, and it's just and the fact that we all had to, whether you brand it as pivot, we all had to adapt. I mean, we can't be arrogant enough to say, well, I'm not changing anything about what I do. I'll just wait till it's all over, because then you'll just crumple and die and fade away. You've got to flex and bend, and you did that.
Like a reed in the wind.
Like a reed in the wind, as Bruce Lee would say. The stiff tree breaks and the bamboo sways in the wind and takes all the load. So when you say you're training people in video production and all of that, what type of people and what are you training them?
So I ran my first webinar session the other day, literally the first one, had 10 people purchase, so which wasn't bad from me putting the initial post up on the Wednesday and then saying I was going to launch on the following Wednesday. So we're going to do that as a rolling monthly thing now.
Super.
I'm also going to do a one a month for job seekers as well, for people that don't understand how to use video, how they can benefit from learning video, so they can get better on things like Zoom, because Zoom is, whether we like it or not, Zoom is part of daily life now. So I'm just going to be doing that as well as a way to sort of give back. And then I do one-to-one coaching as well, which is a bit more involved. It's a 2-day thing where we go a bit sort of deeper, find out what areas people are kind of weaker on and sort of work on those really. But it's more applicable to learning video content around LinkedIn as a platform rather than other social media platforms. You can take it away and apply it to those other platforms, but it's more specifically built around LinkedIn, because I know that's where the traffic and conversation is coming from.
Outstanding. No, I love that. So what can people expect if they stump? So I guess some people might be able to sort of like flow out what you might get in a 2-day session. But on the webinars, what sort of thing might people expect to see? What's the kind of content or agenda on that?
Yes, so it's basically starting from scratch. So it's kind of getting you comfortable with the process. It's more around, although I'm a nerd and I get very specialist on certain types of kit or bits of software, I think having a grounding in how you produce video, how you set yourself up for it, how you get comfortable with the process is more important than the technicality of it, because the technicality can be learned over time. Bits of software evolve and they change. We do reference bits of software, free bits of software that people can use on the webinar, but it's more getting them comfortable with the process really of filming, which is it's a foreign concept for a lot of people. Jumping into video for the first time, it's a scary proposition. So it's just helping them get relaxed and kind of helping them with kind of story ideas, setting up their gear. We cover things like editing. It's a complete end-to-end package really, presented over an hour and a half. So I kind of steamroll through it quite quickly. But yeah, I had some really good feedback on the one that we ran the other day. So yeah.
I'm interested. So the one that you ran the other day, have people gone away and made video, but like their first videos and stuff?
Yeah. There's a lady who was on the training yesterday, and she said that she's going to go away and make a testimonial video for me for the webinar. So I was like, that's freaking awesome, amazing. So I'll be looking out for that when she's finished. But the one-to-one stuff, I've already trained a few people, and my star pupil, one of the first people that I trained on the course, Ward, he's been smashing it with his video content on LinkedIn. I'm doing a testimonial with him next week, where we're going to take some of his original content that he had kind of highly produced, and then the stuff that he's produced with me afterwards, to show the difference in metrics between the two. So.
And who's the chap with the hat that choked when you showed him something about subtitling? On one of your films, there's a guy with a kind of Peaky Blinders cap that chokes on his tea, I think, while you're.
That was Mark. Yeah, that was a great session. Yeah, Mark was he's a really cool guy. He's a rugby playing lad. But I've got a follow up, because we do it basically for the one-to-one workshop. We do a 2-day session. So we do the initial day and get them kind of up to speed. They go away, do some homework, and then they come back. And if there's any areas that they're kind of weaker on, then we follow up with that. But yeah, he had a really good session. I try and make my I think a large component which a lot of people miss with training is just making it fun. And memorable. Because if you can make people laugh and they have a good time while they're doing it, they're much more likely to retain that information. That's almost a core component of my whole philosophy on life, really. So.
And it's also pretty good if your coach is the high watermark, because if you're telling them to just to do this and do that and do that, there's nothing worse than someone going, well, when are you going to do that? But all they have to do is just go and like tip the toe into the water of your profile to find that you don't mess about. Don't mess about.
I've kind of been doing it for a long time, so yeah.
And I cringe. And you're such a lovely person that like you're very supportive of people that are in your network and stuff. So I make the half-arsed attempts of it. I love the process of doing.
Stuff. Your stuff is coming along though in leaps and bounds. Like I think it is just a case of when you start making stuff, you get into the almost like a kind of flow state of doing it, and I can tell that you understand the mechanics of it now, and you're you're enjoying you're having fun with it.
Fun.
And that's,
yeah. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't make video if I didn't find it a fun experience to do.
Yeah.
And that the injecting a little bit of lightheartedness, a bit of fun or something to make people go, well, that's interesting. But then to have you come in and go, that's a really nice video, and put a little like on it is like, oh no, I can't believe he watched that. It's like Francis Ford Coppola's just dropped a like on my freaking. That's cringe, slightly cringe. It's like I wrote a blog and Stephen King said, nice piece of writing there. Nice piece of writing. Oh no, Stephen, don't look here.
Oh,
don't look.
You've made me blush.
Well, it is a little bit cringy. I mean, I think I put out a video a week the week, and then you put out one the Walking Dead tribute thing.
Oh yeah, the Clubhouse.
I mean, I just about threw away my light ring at that point. I just what is the point? What is the point?
That took me literally an hour to make. So it took me 15 minutes to come up with the idea and script it. I think 15 minutes to film it, and then 30 minutes to edit it. Bosh.
That took you 15 minutes to film.
Yeah,
that's annoying. It's really annoying.
Yeah, but I've been doing it for a long time, so I know, I can nail stuff pretty quickly. It's just a process of doing stuff for a long time.
I suppose. And the thing is with you, which again is lovely, a proper filmmaker, a proper video producer, a proper producer. You don't mind giving out advice. You don't mind helping people. You don't mind giving people a little pat on the back. And I love that about you. I think that's absolutely brilliant. I think the last time we met, you said it was all about the fact that you used to go to the cinema for a very early age. But even before that, as a kid, was it always going to be something in the films? Was it always going to be something in films? Or was there any other avenue?
I think my parents initially wanted me to get into. I think everyone goes through this process. I think as a kid, it's like your parents kind of pushing you into something, and they wanted me to be a forensic scientist for some reason.
What?
Imagine me as a forensic scientist. I don't know. That could have in a parallel dimension somewhere. Maybe I could be in CSI crime scene.
Do you know what I love? And my wife and I are huge forensics fans, right? And anything to do with crime scenes and all of that, we love that, right? So, Sarah will be flicking through the telly. I'll be on my phone or something. She's like, "Ooh, a murder documentary about real life murder and crime and all that." So we grew up as massive CSI fans. But see, when you see these beautiful boys and girls in labs with leather jackets on, like operating these little machines and going, there's the fingerprint, it's there, it's just happened in 5 seconds. And then when you see the real life British forensic shows in the horrible office in Slough.
Yeah. Night and day difference.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we're sending this off for testing. It's January. We should have the answers by March.
We're going to crack this sucker in about 6 years.
Yeah, and these beautiful people turn up at these crime scenes on CSI in like Gucci and Dolce and Gabbana, and swan under the police tape, take samples of blood and all that, and then you see the poor buggers in Glasgow and Birmingham. It takes them 4 hours to put on all their protective gear, so there's no hairs or anything, and then they go into.
There's a sketch there, I think, somewhere.
Yeah, totally. So forensic scientist didn't happen. No,
it was it was not meant to be. I think I've always been I don't know, as a kid, quite. I'm one of those weird kind of introvert extroverts. Weirdly, like I sometimes am uncomfortable in public situations, but stick a camera in front of me and I'm quite extroverted, and I like to just
that's incredible, isn't it?
And I've always been like that as a kid as well. And I've always kind of just stories fascinate me. They always have, like just how we literally interpret everything we do in our day-to-day lives is interpreted through story. Everything, from the clothes that we wear to the things that we eat, to every little thing that we do is a story that we tell ourselves during the day. And it's I just find it a fascinating subject that we use that in order to process information throughout our day and sort of process our lives, really.
In the best of these little Crux Casts, the titles always come out during it. Everything we do is linked to a story. I think we just found the title for this one. That's pretty cool. Thank you. Brilliant. Everything we do is linked to a story. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Cool, cool. Magic. Yeah, everything we do is linked to a story. So, in your craft, are you very into? So you're clearly very good at what you do. Are you very into what's happening in the development of your craft around the world? So do you have you got your favorite? I guess it doesn't have to just be Hollywood style films, but have you got your favorite film producers and video producers? I probably don't know the right terminology. Are you into the arts and craft and science associated with your trade?
Yeah, I mean, I am. Yeah, it's weird. I think I used to be when I was younger, probably maybe 10, 15 years ago. I used to be a lot more obsessed with it.
Right.
But that obsession's, I guess it's like anything, you sort of fall in and out of love with it. And I think that's probably come around from having to sort of produce so much content and having to produce content for clients as well. It kind of, and this happened to me a few weeks ago, and it's never happened to me before. But I had like a dry spell, like a creative dry spell.
Right.
Just completely, like, it just went. It was like someone had sucked my creativity out through my eyeballs, and I think it was down to Clubhouse in part, because I was spending so much time on there talking about what I do is my craft, and
you emptied your content tank.
It just it's just like my content tank's empty. But yeah, going back to your question, I mean, I have kind of particular favorite directors. I guess I would say the best director of our generation currently is probably Denis Villeneuve. He is an absolutely extraordinary director.
Would we know any of his work?
Maybe he did. I can't remember the name of it. It had Leonardo DiCaprio in it and Tom Hardy, the one where he gets attacked by the bear.
The Revenant.
Revenant. He did that.
Incredible.
He did Arrival, which is absolutely just. I have never watched a movie that completely screws with your sense of time like that film does. I watched it 3 times in the cinema, cried like a baby every single time I watched it, and it was just mind-blowingly phenomenal. You're so convinced while you're watching the narrative unfold. You're like, oh, I know how this ends, blah blah blah, and it's just, it just completely screws with your mind. It is a masterclass in editing and how to manipulate an audience's sense of time during a movie. It's remarkable, and I don't say that lightly. It is a remarkable film, and he's directing the new Dune movie, which is coming out soon. And I'm a huge Dune nerd. So if there's
not a shock,
can do it.
It's not a shock.
No, if there's one man that can do it, it's him. So I have every faith in him. He's a fantastic director, really good director, and it is rare to find someone with his who sort of treads that. I think Spielberg does it very well as well, but sort of treads that line between kind of art house sensibility and commercial. He's a very popular director as well. So,
cool.
Which is why he's done so well.
I've just written it down as a must see, Arrival, because I love Revenant. A question for you while we're on that topic of just actual films, just a left field question. What was your view on Tenet?
I think it was actually Christopher Nolan's worst film. I genuinely think it was like watching it wasn't a terrible film, don't get me wrong. It was a good movie, but not Christopher Nolan's best, and it felt to me like watching a high production value student film. Yeah, that's what it felt like. Yeah,
absolutely. I had such high expectations. Sarah said she was going to have an early night. She didn't fancy it. I'm going to watch it. The house was empty. Here we go.
I will watch anything that Christopher Nolan makes, because he is a fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and he doesn't make bad movies. And it wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't one of his best.
Yeah.
I think. Oh goodness, what's it called? The Prestige is without a doubt
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible film. Yeah.
Again, it's because it's so well crafted in terms of how it manipulates the audience audience's perception of how they think the story's unfolding. It's just brilliant.
Beautiful and clever and surprising and intriguing and just an absolute joy. I was kind of, I felt exactly the same. I got to the end, and Sarah would normally say that I would watch anything, and I do watch a lot of film, and I'll find like it doesn't have to be. I like a bit of art house. I also like Jason Statham. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you're in a Statham mood. You just want to crack open a beer and wax and Statham.
I'm having a bit of Transporter. That's it. It's happening.
Have you seen what's the one he did? The one where
yes is the answer. Yes, I've seen them all.
where unless he runs out of adrenaline, he'll end up
crank
from a heart attack.
Crank.
It's genius. What a great high concept idea for a movie.
And he's giving himself electric shocks and drinking energy drinks and all that. Yeah, my goodness me, utter drivel, but brilliant.
Brilliant.
It takes a lot for me to get to the end of a film, and I very rarely give up on a film. But there's a film on Sky right now called SAS: The Red Zone. It's the worst piece of cinematography and film I've ever seen in my utter drivel.
I've got one for you. I Frankenstein. That was nearly 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back, and I never say that about a movie. Terrible.
Yeah,
terrible film.
Just rubbish. Yeah,
and I was really drunk when I watched it as well.
I got to the end of that SAS thing the other day, and I thought SAS Red Zone is this sort of good-looking young guy. Noel Clark's in it. I like Noel Clark. Who else is in it? Who else? Andy Serkis is in it. I thought, this is going to be good. Love the circus. The most insulting. I got to the end and I was like, well, that's just an insult to your intelligence. It's just rubbish. It's not even good rubbish.
It's just rubbish.
It's rubbish.
That is one thing I've been crying out for just the whole the whole experience of the cinema, man. I am yearning to go back to the cinema.
Yeah.
Waiting for those lights to just dim, crack out my popcorn or cheesy nachos, because I do like a cheesy nacho while I'm in the cinema with a few jalapenos, and then just bathe it in.
You want that melted orange plastic on the top, the melted orange plastic?
Yeah, pretty much, the melted orange plastic.
Cheese flavoured plastic.
That's why I put on so much weight when I was at uni, because I worked at the cinema and all I would eat during my lunch break was like cheesy nachos or hot dogs. Like, can you
oh my God,
just terrible. Like the worst diet known to man. And then I'd go out and buy like a family-sized lasagna for like 8 people, and I'd be disgusted at myself if I didn't finish it.
But you're so right. That whole, yes, okay, we want to go on holiday. Yes, okay, we want to go up into the mountains. Yes, okay, but actually, although I
just want to be around people.
Yes,
I want to be around people again.
Yeah, I said to Sarah the other day, and this is something that would never have come out of my mouth ever. I can't wait to go out and wander down the high street or into a shopping mall.
Yeah,
and just mooch around the shops.
I put a post up about it the other day. Like, I live in the country, and I'm very privileged that we're surrounded by rivers and hillside and forests, and we can go out for walks whenever we want.
Whereabouts are you in England?
I'm Eastbourne, so right on the south coast. Yeah,
right, cool.
Literally, you can see the sea from my daughter's bedroom window.
Brilliant.
But right opposite us is a park. Well, I put a post up the other day saying that I'm just getting sick of going out for walks. I want to go to a cafe. I want to go to a cinema. I'd even go to a shopping mall and just hang out when people watch people. I just want to be around people again.
Yeah, and choose buildings that you want to go into. And Sarah said, she made me laugh. I just want to go into shops and feel clothes. And just move and feel towels and stuff.
I just miss commerce.
Indeed.
It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, indeed. Yeah, exactly. Right, listen, we can avoid this as much as we like, but and I don't want it to be about this, but it's so powerful. I don't want to put a downer on it. Let's keep some laughs. You put out a post. It was earlier this year, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, probably.
Must be January, right?
Yeah, it must have been the start of the year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and so most of us who follow you are used to beautifully produced, amazing thumbnails. But there you do. You sit down in front of your phone or a camera and you say, "I'm not even putting subtitles on this because I want you to listen." and you told us a story, and if anyone with an ounce of humanity or empathy or just any sensitivity about them, probably like most of us ended up in tears, right? So you told and we don't need to go in depth into the story, but you told a story about something horrific that happened to you that you were experienced in your younger years. Without going into detail, what was if people want to go and watch it, it's featured on your
it's on my featured section, my profile.
But without getting too morose, why did you feel it was appropriate at that time? I mean, what age are you now?
I'm 42 now.
42. Why did you feel it was the right time, Nick, to come out and say this is what happened?
Midlife crisis, dude.
Right. Okay.
Quite clearly, my cheese has slid off my cracker, and I was just like,
Did you just say my cheese slid off the cracker?
I have no idea why, but I think it's part of I think I've said this to you before, that I think being on LinkedIn and being around people that have kind of growth mindsets has sort of rewired my brain, and it felt right to do it. I was like, I've finally kind of accepted who I am. Yes. That is part of my history, and I'm ready to grow and evolve and move on from that. But it has defined, a lot of who I am. But yeah, I'm ready to move beyond it. And it was a video talking about my experience as a child and childhood sexual trauma that I went through. So it's not an easy watch by any means. And fuck me, pardon my French, but it was not easy to film as well. The kids are next door. Don't worry, with the door closed, so they can't hear me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was not easy to film. Oh, that's my son. You can probably hear. There was I meant to do it, and I meant to do it about 2 months before I actually posted it. And I was like, it was on my to-do list. It's like, okay, make a video about this. And for weeks, every time I made an excuse, I was like, I haven't got time today. I haven't got time to do that. I haven't got time. I just kept putting it off. Yeah. And I've got a guy that's mentoring me at the moment. Chris, you probably know Chris Williams from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Chris is mentoring me at the moment, and he encouraged me to do it. And yeah, the morning that I posted it, I think my finger was hovering over the post button for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I just sat there with my finger on the mouse, like, do I do this?
Do I do this? What if? Yeah, all the questions.
What are the repercussions of me doing this? But yeah, it was extremely cathartic. Like it's helped me kind of refocus where the kind of business is going. We're rebranding as well, and I mean that video, I had 150 DMs from just loads of different people, but some people that have gone through the same thing, some people that were just reaching out to me to congratulating me for sharing it, because they know it would help other people that have gone through similar experiences. I had a conversation with a guy that had gone through the same thing as me on the phone, and like a few days afterwards, and he was crying on the phone and I was crying on the phone, and it was just amazing, dude, like literally amazing. So
confronting it like that, hitting it head on and putting it out there, saying, because for any of us that have had trauma or problems in our life, and
I think the majority of people have at some point in their life.
Yeah, I mean, mine was a heavy-handed father my whole life, heavy-handed father, extremely heavy-handed father. And the answer to everything was ultra-violence. That was it. Any bump in the road, any domestic bump in the road, from dropped a plate and smashed it to home late from school or whatever, was dealt with ultra-violence, and that just became the norm. My question is, and I guess this is probably a bit for my benefit as well, is I've got all that in a box. And I think that box is welded shut. But every now and then, part of the weld corrodes and a little bit leaks out.
Yeah,
and you get kind of stuck in it.
And the more you, I mean, I completely repressed this, like completely repressed it. Like I eliminated it from my brain.
whole years of calendars vanished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my daughter was born, and it was like literally someone had like jacked me into some sort of like the plug in the Matrix when Neo gets jacked in. It was like that, but it was like just like raw emotion, like every kind of emotion you can imagine. It was just like dong.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. When she was born, I think I cried for about 3 days straight after she was born. I was like just a bag, like a mess, basically.
Yeah.
And then that obviously kind of brought all those memories kind of flooding back, and then I think it's just kind of built up over the years. I'm just like I got to a point where I was just like, I've had enough of feeling like this. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I think it's just at some point you either kind of give into it and it becomes kind of part of you, or you just say, no, I'm not. I don't. It's not me. I don't want to accept that.
And you stop all the bullets.
Yeah.
in midair and pick one. No, I'm not having this.
Yeah,
quite right.
You just say no. And it's,
so my question is, when you did that and you hit, like, this is going to sound quite weird to people who maybe haven't had this kind of darker time in their life, but when you just confront it and you put it out there, does it lift any of the weight off?
Yeah, massively.
Seriously.
I mean, I went through. So again, this is quite hard to speak about, and it's there's a lot of stigma around it, around mental health as well. But I had, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I think I am. I had EMDR therapy sessions after I did that video. I booked in with a lady and had 6 therapy sessions with her.
And what is EMDR?
It's basically what it does is it allows you to, without, I don't know the fundamental, I don't know the fundamental science of. Hello, rat bag. Come say hello. Come here.
Scampered off.
He's trying to run away. Yeah, he's run away. Camera shy. It's basically a normal person has a high bandwidth that they can process emotional states in, whether that be high or low. And someone that's gone through trauma, that bandwidth gets narrowed.
Right.
And what happens when you go through trauma, your brain basically kind of shuts down to. Oh, hold on a minute. My wife's back from work. 1 second.
That's all right. That's all right. Go for it, man. That's all right.
I'm back.
You're back.
That's the wife back from work.
Bandwidth, trauma.
In a normal person, your bandwidth is quite large, so you can process emotional states quite easily. Someone that's gone through trauma, it gets narrowed. So the slightest little thing will kind of set you off. Like I cry at kids' movies that you shouldn't ordinarily just like floods of tears. But when you go through trauma, your brain basically shuts down to cope with the trauma, almost like sort of fetal thing, where you kind of curl up into a ball. Your brain just goes, no, I'm not gonna process this at the moment. And then what happens is that memory gets stuck, and it doesn't get processed. So what the EMDR does is it allows you to go back to that time and actually process the memory, because that's what's happening. Is basically you keep every time you're you get kind of highly stressed out, or you go outside your range of emotions, you go back to that trauma basically. So what it does is it processes the trauma, and then it's a memory, and then it's filed away, and it was bad, but it's been processed. So
outstanding.
It's bonkers how the brain works as well. It kind of, what it does is, I think originally they would kind of use a finger, and you'd kind of look at the finger, and you'd follow the finger while they were talking to you, and it is the weirdest thing. You kind of go into almost like a hypnotic state. So what's happening is your left and right brain is processing, and it's passing the information between them. But how they do it now is that you just sit there and you kind of tap on your shoulders, and then you go into this kind of almost like weird catatonic state where you're in the past, but you're also in the present. I can't even begin to describe it to you. It's weird, but it works.
Right. Okay. And it helped you.
I feel feel like a new man after doing it. So I was a bit concerned that while I was doing it, because like I said to you before, like the things that I've gone through, I'd almost, and this sounds completely weird and surreal, and I'm kind of thankful for the trauma that I went through, because I kind of see it, like I said before, as my superpower.
Right.
Like, I can tap into emotional states quite easily because emotions are that much stronger for me. So I was concerned that when I went through the therapy, that it's almost like kryptonite Superman, that I'd be losing my superpower.
Right. Okay.
But thankfully I don't think that's happened. So yeah.
Crikey, man, crikey. It's just what you've been through. But as you say, it's given you superpowers. It's made you the man you are today, and you're a loving father with a terrific family and all of that. And yeah, and you smile a lot. You smile a lot. You're a happy person. Yeah, it's cool. But I think for many of us that watched that, and a lot of people watched it, that was, as you say, people contacted you, people reached out. Maybe some people took some action and got some help and opened up a bit, or asked a friend.
I know from one of the original text posts that I did. I know a guy, and I won't name him, that DM'd me. That because my abuser's dead. He died a long time ago, but his was still alive, and he had it out with his abuser. And he was like, "Dude, you've changed my life." And I was like, I didn't intend for you to kind of take action or do anything off of it, but he did. I was like, wow, if I've changed one person's life through my content, that's phenomenal.
Crikey.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay. We dealt with it. We spoke about it. We circled past it and dipped our full arm into the water there.
The leg went in.
Yeah, the leg went in. The leg went in. Look into the light. Look into the light. So you mentioned. So when I first met you, you were very fixed and firm about what you were doing. You've pivoted, adjusted the business. You mentioned there about, was it rebranding or refocusing the business? What's in store? Yes. What's in store? Are you allowed to say, or roughly?
Yeah. I mean, we've just taken on a new client. They're a small client. No, sorry, they're not a small client. They're a big client, but the job was relatively small that we've just done for them, the little acorns and all that, and it was Brewdog. So we've just taken them on as a client.
You are joking.
No. So I'm going to be doing a post about that at some point. We're going for a rebrand. I want to do a TED Talk this year at some point, talking about the video that I've done.
No way.
Yes.
Is that slightly moving? Is that just something that you fancy doing? Or is there?
I haven't. Yeah, just I fancy doing. I've spoken to a few people at TEDx that sort of deal with this stuff. So yeah, it's on the cards, and I'm definitely going to do it because I know again that it will help other people. Like I said, we're kind of going through a rebrand. I'd always kind of created the business as this kind of entity, but it wasn't me. Right. And now I've gone through this thing. I think we're gonna take elements of me from LinkedIn and encapsulate this into the new brand as well. So there's a more homogenous connection between my personal brand and the business brand. Bit more fun, bit more anarchic, bit more out there.
Right. Okay. My God. Look out, world. Crikey. A bit more anarchic. Brilliant. Yeah. I'm asking lots of people this question. It would be easy to focus on, and I guess most of us know what the downsides of all the pandemic and the lockdown have been. Have you noticed anything? It might not even be business related. It might even be community related or on the domestic front that's actually come out of this, which is a good thing.
It's positive. Yeah, definitely. I think it's forced people to deal with their shit. Basically, yeah. We're so distracted on the day to day by all these things that happen in our lives. Work and business and the stress of life, that when all that stuff goes away and things slow down a little bit, it forces you to look inwards, and that's where the real work that's where you have to do the real work, is inside you. It's not all these other things that are distracting you.
Yeah. Oh, look, shiny things.
Yeah. When you do the real work inside, I mean, I always kind of self-doubted myself. I always used to kind of beat myself up a lot. I always used to be hard on myself. I've got a freaking wheel now that you could bend a freaking iron bar around. I know who I am.
Yeah. That's incredible. And okay, there are people who have not found that. They've not found that, and people who have really, but
some people spend their entire lives not knowing that, not knowing who they are, and some people discover who they are very early on in their lives. But I think it's slowing down enough to listen to your inner voice is what people need to do, and I think COVID's enabled a lot of people to do that.
Outstanding. Listen. I was so keen to do this number 2. That didn't come out right. I was so keen to do this redo of this second go, not this number 2. And I'm so glad we were able to make it. No one was able to see Pierce Brosnan massaging your feet at all.
He's definitely under the table.
Listen, I love this. I love what you do. Keep doing what you do. The concept of you doing a TED Talk is just mind-blowing. Fantastic.
It's scaring the living bejesus out of me thinking about it, but I do honestly think that that's my barometer now for whether I need to do something. Does it terrify me? Yes, and then I need to go and do it.
Does it terrify me? Yes, then I need to go and do it. I think we've actually got to change the title for this to that. That's better. Yeah, right. Okay, good stuff. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. I don't care about mystique or anything like that. We're going to stop recording this now, and we're going to do 10 questions specifically for the Apple and Spotify podcast, which are fun questions. But thank you so much for doing this. Love it to bits.
My pleasure, dude.
Love you to bits.
I love hanging out with you, dude. You are my brother from another mother. So yeah,
you look a bit alike. I'm like your older brother that's got more scars.
Yeah.
Right. We shall see you soon.
Okay, dude.
Thank you so much.
See you later.
Bye bye.